So many of you get a hold of me via email, messages, see me and ask me questions at seminars about hunting elk in grizzly country. And I get it. When I first moved here to Southwest Montana, I wasn't that excited about hunting in grizzly country. But over years of doing it, understanding more about bears, learning things I can do to mitigate the likelihood of an encounter, I've become pretty comfortable hunting in bear country. Now that I've said that, you'll read in the news next year, Randy Newberg devoured by a grizzly bear. Let's hope not. But my point of this video is I want to show you and explain to you some things you can do to make yourself more comfortable hunting in grizzly country. And the reason I say that is grizzly country has some of our best elk hunting. It has lower hunting pressure as a general rule. It has a better age class. And the likelihood of success is probably going to be better. So I'm going to break it down into avoidance, keeping your camp clean and food storage, and then I'm going to talk about bear spray versus firearms. Avoidance, know something about grizzly bears. Know where bears are going to be at certain times of the season and certain times of the day, because the best mechanism for not having a bear encounter is being in places where the bears aren't. And when they're in this period of hyperphagia, which starts usually sometime in September and goes until just before hibernation, they are trying to put on as much fat, as much weight as possible. So they're very active, which increases your likelihood of having an encounter. You're looking for certain habitats of where are the grizzlies going to be at certain times of the year, and go and research this for the area you're hunting. But sometimes they'll be way up at tree line eating moths. Other times they're going to be looking for the white bark pine. Other times they might be looking for cutthroat trout. Sometimes it might just be berries. And sometimes you can't help it. Sometimes they're just spread throughout the elk terrain, just like the elk are spread throughout the habitat. And you're going to be in that same proximity. There are some places that you know certain times of the day bears are going to be. When it's bedding time in the heat of the day, they want to be in dark places, dark timber, thick brush patches. I try not to be in those spots if I know I've seen grizzly sign or grizzly scat. Whatever it is, know where they're likely to be and avoid those spots if you can. I know that sounds simple, but that's the easiest way to avoid an encounter. One of the other ways to avoid a bear encounter is to have a clean camp. These bears have such fantastic sense of smell. You can't leave anything in your camp, in your tent, in your personal belongings that they're going to smell, because they're going to come and get it. So move all of that far away. With your food, have a cooler or a bag that you can take over to a big tree with an overhanging limb, at least 100 yards, maybe 200-300 yards from your camp. And you want to have it 10 feet off the ground and 4 feet from the trunk. So you're going to have to bring a long piece of rope to do that. And it's going to be a little bit of a pain every day. When it's time to eat, you got to go let your bag down, pull it back up. But that's how you're going to keep bears out of your camp. If you have a base camp, you have to have a couple things. You need to store your food in a hard-sided camper, an enclosable, lockable horse trailer, something like that, in the trunk of your car maybe, or your vehicle. Or if you want to, you can store them in coolers. There are some coolers that are certified grizzly bear proof that if you put a lock on them, they're considered grizzly proof. The Orion coolers that I use, they have the little label on there from the Interagency Grizzly Bear Committee that says this cooler is certified grizzly bear proof, but you still have to lock it. If you are hunting in grizzly bear country, you're going to see these signs that say food storage required. That what they mean by that is you have to be following the guidelines that I just mentioned for proper food storage. Say you're lucky and you fill a tag and you've got an elk on the ground. This is where it gets a little dicey. Many times we've killed elk or deer in grizzly country and we can't get it all out that day. We can't get it out in one load. The first thing we do is once we quarter that elk, and we use our gutless method, we take all the quarters, all the bags of meat, and we go hang it far away. Because the likelihood of that carcass and that gut pile attracting a bear is far greater than the meat that's hanging up in a tree. Have it in a spot of shade, obviously, and where the wind can get to it to cool it down. But also have it in the place that has the least cover nearby. If you can observe that before you walk in there, it'll tell you whether or not a bear has been there. When you're approaching your meat that's there, make as much noise as possible. Come in from upwind. Do anything you can do to get a bear away from there. And if a bear has your meat, has your carcass, whatever, give it to him. There is no elk in the world that is worth you having a grizzly encounter. Because most grizzly encounters that are a fight over food result in somebody getting hurt, either you or the bear. We don't want any more bears killed. I mean, there's a reason why we right now are going through this struggle of trying to get them off the endangered species list. We don't want bear encounters. You know, they're a cool animal. Just, if they got your meat, hey, you win. Report it, tell the game warden, tell whoever the officials are, hey, I killed this elk, the bear took it. In most states I know of, they'll issue you another tag. Twice I've had encounters where a grizzly and I met very close while I've been out archery hunting. And if that bear would have decided to come towards me, I don't think I could have had a firearm at the ready in time to defend myself. And I know a lot of you are thinking, well, I'm going to carry a sidearm, I'm going to carry a handgun, whatever. I don't, for a couple reasons. One, those two encounters have shown me how unlikely it is that I could draw that handgun in time to use it effectively. And two, I'm the worst handgun shooter in the world. I'd probably need that handgun to just finish myself off. And three, the effectiveness, pretty much every study shows that this, as much as it is a close range weapon, a close range defense mechanism, is far more effective for a person being charged by a grizzly bear than a handgun is. I know I can disarm this really quick, and if that bear's on top of me, or that bear is right there, they suggest 20 to 30 feet is when you spray. But even if it's right, like here, face to face, if I have this in my hand, odds are I'm going to be able to take care of that bear and spray it better than I am if I have trying to draw a handgun or it's wherever. I just don't want to argue with statistics. Statistics show bear spray is going to be way better for you if you have an encounter than a handgun. So with that, hopefully you understand what it takes to camp, to hunt, and to be comfortable in grizzly bear country. Don't avoid elk hunting in grizzly country just because you have a fear of bears. It can be mitigated, it can be managed. There's no guarantee that you're not going to have an encounter, but you can do a lot of things to lessen the likelihood. And if you do have an encounter, I would suggest that you rely on bear spray. I know some of you are going to say, oh, Newberg, you're a candy ass or whatever. You know what? That's fine. I know what the odds are. The data shows bear spray versus a handgun is going to be in my favor. First of all, try to avoid an encounter. If you have one, use bear spray. Go elk hunting, apply and hunt in these areas. It's some of our best elk hunting in the West is in grizzly country. Go there, be safe, have fun, and fill your tag. Thanks for watching.